tuned now for the Rooting for Heroes radio show with host Brett Morash on 1460 WVOX.
Okay, good morning, everyone. It is October 16th. We're here on WVOX, a Whitney Global Media station, and today's show is what I consider sort of automotive motorsports royalty. And we're going to have Tim McCready a little later, who's in the Lucas Oil Late Modified Dirt Series. He's going for the championship this weekend in a $100,000 purse out of Portsmouth, Ohio Raceway. And then coming up in a moment is going to be Dan Short, who is the owner of Phantom Works, which is a custom car builder down in Norfolk, Virginia, where I was stationed for a lot of my military career. And he's also a veteran of the United States Army Special Forces, having served in the 7th Group. So without further ado, Dan, are you on the line?
I am. Thank you so much for having
me. Oh, it's actually our honor. Like I said, you're like veteran royalty to us. Like, I was going to say the Duke, but I know there's another show that has that. But certainly you're a person that I think people look up to. And personally, having made the transition from military service, anytime I see someone who's an entrepreneur like yourself, I'm really appreciative. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. The time in the military was easily the most fun I ever had. Transitioning to becoming a business owner was a big challenge and actually far more stressful and difficult even than being in combat. So for me, it's been a rather interesting set of job opportunities I've sort of challenged.
Oh yeah, for sure. And tell how did you get into that coming out of before I talk about your military experience? How did you even get into that? That time was like. And especially in Norfolk, Virginia, I mean, do the Navy guys give you a hard time? Like, what's going on?
Well, my wife is Navy, so I can only speak so ill of the Navy. But no, I respect all services. Yeah. I wound up in Norfolk because of my wife. With her in the Navy, I needed to be assigned somewhere that was co-located with lots of those big gray boats, and Norfolk happened to be the place. I actually worked up really in the Williamsburg area at Fort Eustis while she was down here at the NOB. So that's how an Army guy came to be in a Navy place. But starting the business was just one of those things. I think it's sort of that fire that burns in some people that you're not going to be happy until you are creating jobs, creating things with your hands, and that's really it. I mean, we could talk for hours about it, but the long story short, it was just a burning desire to create something, and that something turned out to be, of course, classic and custom cars.
Oh yeah, no, and I think I've told my listeners before too, and all my friends, that I get a lot of catharsis working on my car. In fact, this morning I had to drive our Dunning Toyota Land Cruiser here through the rain. But I really enjoy like pulling it apart, putting it back together. But I use it as a daily driver, so I have to put everything back together quick. So.
And yeah, the word you use, cathartic, is absolutely perfect. That I feel very sorry for a lot of the young people growing up today, having only experienced things like cell phone video games and Xbox, when in fact the thing that we look back on with very fondness is, having created something. I don't care whether you took a 2x4 and carved something out of it, or you put a vacuum cleaner back together, or sort of the ultimate goal would be to build an airplane or a car. When you get done with it, there is an immense sense of satisfaction in turning some old junk into something just magnificent. And for a lot of people that will never get a chance to experience that, I actually feel very sorry for them, because it's an amazing experience.
No, listen, and I think even someone who I'm a student of the humanities, it's that sort of creation process. When you have sort of that glue or the like clay, and in your case maybe like an old car that was coming back from the grave. I think that's really important, and I think that is something you can aspire to. And to your point, like if it's a 2x4 and you have like a knife, you can whittle something. I mean, those sorts of things matter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, we all identify in life with the things that we do. Look, if you work at Walmart as a greeter, when someone says, "Hey, what do you do?" You don't talk about what you do at home. You talk about what you do for a living. And so
for sure.
the ability to say, we bring back, American legends and put them back on the road again. I got to tell you, for me and the guys and gals that work for me, I for all of us, a very, very proud part of our lives.
That's amazing, Dan. And listen, thanks again for what you do. And I think that you're just an amazing person. So let me ask just a couple other questions. So one of the things I like about the Green Berets, and as you probably know, I work with a lot of guys out of the 7th group, as they like to call it, the Red Empire. I know you're a 5th group guy, and we'll get to that. But one of the things I'm really always impressed with the Green Berets is that their ability to engage with people. And I think that's part of your kind of training pipeline, right?
Absolutely. There's something unique about being in a small operational detachment like that. When we travel in the world, unlike I later became part of the conventional army. I was an Apache pilot, and I had a group of 500 people supporting me and my aircraft and things like that. But as a Green Beret, you're working with individuals. I mean, we lived in caves. We worked in some of the most austere conditions. And there was just usually between 10 and 12 of us, and it was rather interesting, the completely different dynamic of working in that environment. So,
do you think that really prepared you though to like work the smaller unit environment? Probably do with Phantom Works too, I would think, right? Like with that you're looking out for each other, and everyone else has got each other's back.
Well, it is, and the guys completely get it. What we do is a lot like small team operations, and for those that embrace it, it's the best experience of their lives. But for those that aren't quite ready for like the discipline and the requirement to step up all the time and do your job, it can be a very painful experience. And
for sure.
And I've let go of several attempted wannabes that they thought they wanted it, but when push came to shove, they simply weren't there and ready to 100%.
Yeah, and I think that is testament to your success both in uniform and obviously in the as an entrepreneur. So I have a question for you that one of my folks sent in. Who and you don't have to say name, but like explain like your toughest customer you ever had at Phantom Works.
Wow.
So many. Where do I start?
That list is long and distinguished, unfortunately. I will tell you about one who I will let him remain nameless because I really don't need him coming back on me. But I had a customer who, when we sat down and he said, I want a car that does, 700 horsepower and the best handling car in the world and completely handmade custom body, we talked numbers, and I said, look, what you're asking for is $150,000 in materials and $150,000 in labor. So, are you ready for this? And he said, absolutely. And he couldn't wait to sign the documents. Then, so we started with a guarantee of a $300,000 project for what he wanted. And I'll never forget that when we hit $190,000, he started writing me just the nastiest letters in the world. And I said, hey, sir, anytime you want to quit, please feel free to quit. And no, we'll keep going. And the letters got nastier and nastier. And then when we hit 200, he said, I'm going to get my attorney. And I said, sir, you can quit anytime. And he finally agreed to quit, which of course he later recanted and begged me to finish his car. But at that point, you can't imagine how relieved I was that he had actually threatened me and said, I'm going to quit. So what I find interesting about the world of building cars is, my crew and I are afraid of no car in the world. I don't care if you say you want to make a car fly, I believe in, and I say that with absolute sincerity, we can make a car come off the ground and fly. But
amazing.
It's the customer that terrifies me. No car project has ever scared me, but customers scare the living crap out of me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And this vehicle is now known as like Optimus Prime, right? It's like a transformer.
Oh yeah. And when these customers decide to build these nightmare builds, believe it or not, I spend hours trying to talk them out of it.
Right.
I spend my time trying to convince them, why don't we build a reasonable car that's reliable, that you're actually going to enjoy, rather than trying to build the world's craziest car that is going to be look, anytime you try to cut the leading edge on too many different sort of fronts, you're going to run into problems. And I do my best to talk my customers into reasonableness and smaller bills. And believe it or not, they work as hard as they can to talk me into unreasonable, unrealistic projects.
Right. But I think that that's testament to all of your training in the military and dealing with people and being a successful entrepreneur. So, bravo to you, sir.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, it's been a great life so far. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I don't have a whole lot of regrets about things I haven't tried yet.
That's awesome. And listen, I'm sure we're gonna. I know the show's just in kind of reruns on Motor Trend, but I'm sure we'll see some amazing stuff on your website. And what is the website so that the listeners out there can tune in and see what's going on?
Exactly like the show, phantomworks.com. And in fact, the new exciting project we're going to start doing on November 14th, we're going to do weekly videos on it. We're building a car, a 57 Corvette that is part of a giveaway. So, people write me all the time and they say, I wish we afford one of your cars. Well, we're gonna build a 57 Corvette and raffle it off for charity, and it's also part of in conjunction, we're going to be giving a book. With the purchase of 5 raffle tickets, you'll be able to get a book that I've written. So that's kind of the new phase and exciting venture in my life.
Well, I'll be one of the first people lined up to get that book. So rest assured. And we're actually Racing for Heroes, we're gonna be down there December 4th, so that Friday. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
I look forward to seeing you then and putting on the event at the shop, and I hope to see a lot of folks there.
Yeah, we're gonna bring the 773 car as well, and I have some former shipmates coming who are now like captains and admirals down there, as well as just folks on the kind of community. So we're excited about it. And Dan, listen, thanks again. I have Tim on the phone, so I'm gonna have to cut it off there. But Dan, thank you again, and I will see you in December.
My pleasure. We'll see you then.
All right.